Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Kayfabe Central podcast and another episode of the Headlines in Pro Wrestling this week. This is episode 22 of the Headlines of the Week. I mentioned last week that I didn't know which episode we were on, and I should probably start keeping track of them. So I went all the way down the channel and counted each Headlines episode that I've done since starting this channel to figure out which episode we're on. So we are on episode 22, which I feel like is not a big number for the amount of months I've had this channel. So um yeah, there was a few weekends that I just skipped the headlines, but not this weekend. We have some pretty interesting topics here. Not a whole lot. It's gonna be more of a like laid back TV talk kind of headlines podcast because this week in wrestling just wasn't that eventful, I guess you could say. But I'm your host, Josh. As always, joining me is Ruan Wrestling.
Hey,
So yeah, we're gonna be going over some TV stuff, some things that WWE did that just ended up disappointing a lot of people. Um, and yeah, we're gonna get through all of that. Before we do, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. Subscribe to the Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. As always, we always love hearing what you guys have to say about the podcast and our thoughts on it. So you can do that in a variety of different ways. One of them being the Kayfabe Central Discord server. That is linked down below. You can chat it up about wrestling over there. We also have a non-wrestling channel on the Discord server, so go ahead and check that out. You can also leave your thoughts on the Kayfabe Central website, as well as YouTube or Spotify. So wherever you're listening, we appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. Um, but yeah, let's get straight into the headlines. Um, I didn't even have like a idea of where to start, but let's start with WWE. Like this happened before Monday Night Raw. They released these like cryptic teasers, and it was of the first one was someone's, feet. Like all of them were. The first one was like these like, fancy, expensive dress shoes, like these dress pants, and somebody was just walking. And there was a lot of speculation that um and then we had multiple um of those same things after that. We had like four of them. And there was like people saying that, oh, it could be Andrade, maybe they're bringing him back. I saw a couple of people saying like it could be Chris Jericho and it's his different personas that he's played, like the Lionheart, the suit and tie Jericho. But even that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I was like, no, that doesn't seem like even with Lionheart Chris Jericho, I don't, or the light up jacket Chris Jericho, I don't remember him wearing like
yeah,
dress shoes and dress pants or whatever. So
nah.
that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It ended up being a WrestleMania advertisement where they announced that the combo tickets were now on sale. I had a little bit of hope that this could be something cool. But of course, like it was just an advertisement. I I blame a lot of the IWC on this one because there's not a lot of times WWE does stuff like this um when it is something huge. Usually you hear about it before or they do something along those lines. Um I I think a lot of people got their hopes up a lot, and that's why a lot of people are disappointed. But you can also put that blame a little bit on the WWE as well, because you already announced WrestleMania in Las Vegas. If this was like the first announcement that they were going to be in Vegas, okay, I would have been interested in it. For those that don't know and haven't seen the ad included Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. Also Paul Heyman and Triple H, the guy who doesn't like being on camera. Um, all at a poker table because Vegas, poker, casino, gambling, all that stuff. So, and then just announced that the combo tickets were on sale. Um, yeah, this it ended up being disappointing, but I'm also not entirely surprised. But what did you make of this?
Yeah, pretty much the exact same as you, to be honest. So when they first um released that wee mini trailer, there obviously was a little bit of the hype behind it, and as you said, a big part of that comes from the IWC, especially Twitter, from
Yeah.
who it could be. But I was kind of with you. I was like, I don't know. See, if it was going to be someone, I was like, surely it's got to be someone big, like a Jericho. But as you said, it didn't really make sense, and I just didn't see where anybody would fit into a storyline at the minute currently or fit into a package with them. So I was a bit like, I don't know. And then I've spoken to you before, and I've said that one of my work colleagues is a massive wrestling fan, and we were talking about this, and I kind of just threw out the joke that, oh, I bet it's just like a WrestleMania trailer. Then she was like, you know what, you're probably correct. And I thought about it, and I went, it probably is, isn't it? And that was on Monday during the day. um,
Yeah.
so at night when this happened, it happened. We seen the trailer, and it was like, right, okay, that's funny. I was indeed correct. Yeah, I'm with you on. I think both sides. Like on the one hand, like it doesn't really, it's not really surprising. I think people get very overhyped about things. Like, oh my god, it's got to be this, got to be that. It'd be different, for instance, if like they were like, oh, there's going to be a big surprise at WrestleMania. Triple H has a big announcement. Ooh, what could it be? And then it was nothing. That's maybe tickling the balls a little bit. But yeah, in this sense as well,
I
though,
love that
I think
analogy.
tickling the balls just a little bit. Just getting it going. But yeah, you're also correct in the fact that like WWE surely like knew that they were gonna piss off the fan base by releasing this. Like surely, like as you said, see as well. Though I think would have also done even a bit more damage control if they just released the actual trailer for WrestleMania as a whole. If they just released that instead of the whole shoe thing, no one would have batted an eyelid and they would have went, "Oh, okay, cool." And as you said, it's a trailer for an announcement for a show that's already been announced. Like, cool. It's like we knew WrestleMania was in Vegas. We are all very much aware of this. Um, but yeah, it's one of them ones. I wasn't like getting myself overly hyped about it, so when it happened, I wasn't that disappointed or that mad. I was just kind of like, this is what I expected. But I have seen a lot of people in uproar about it.
I think a report came out before they officially released the whole trailer that it was a WrestleMania
I think
trailer.
you're correct. Yeah.
I think it was PW Insider, if I'm not mistaken, that reported it. Um, if I'm wrong about that and somebody knows, you can let me know in the comments, but I believe it was PW Insider. That was like, it seems like it's just a WrestleMania trailer. And of course, the IWC was like, no, 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 this report has to be wrong. It's got to be Andrade or Jericho, or
Yeah.
Santos. And I'm like, when I read the report that it's a WrestleMania trailer, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense. But I'm totally with you. They did not have to do the whole shoe thing.
No.
Like, I I didn't mind the commercial because I think it was kind of cool. Um, and I also think people are reading into this commercial a little bit too deeply. Like, um, obviously these four guys are all gonna be at WrestleMania. But I've seen people being like, "Oh, Cody's sitting across from Punk. Maybe that's what they're gonna do at WrestleMania." And I'm like, I don't think it's that deep. Um, it it I it's not at all. I know that for a fact. Um, it's just an advert. It's just a commercial for WrestleMania. They do this every year. Um, I mean, not to this extent. I don't think they've done this to this extent. But yeah, I don't think it's as deep as people are making it seem. Literally just a commercial. Um, they know that they want those four guys at WrestleMania, despite them not knowing what they want them to do. Um, because obviously Seth Rollins, who I believe would have been in this commercial had he not been injured. Um, and I think that would have been cool as well. But like people are saying like, oh, some of these guys are Paul Heyman guys, and Cody knows Paul well, and maybe that could lead to something at WrestleMania. I'm like, no, no. Brock is probably gonna face Gunther. Cody and Punk is a possibility, and no idea what Roman is gonna do. Maybe something with Jay and Jimmy if Jay wins the title tonight. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah, I'm the same. I was actually just laughing because of something you said, and you're the first person I've heard say this. At least I've seen, because and it's funny because I totally agree with you. When you're like, I actually think the trailer was pretty cool. Like I thought the exact same when I seen it, and that's what made it even funnier. Like I said, if they just released that trailer, I'd have went, "Oh, that's sick." 'Cause I thought it was kind of cool. I know I'm with you, and everyone knows probably both our feelings on Brock, and I actually agree. I wonder if Seth was meant to be in that position instead, but it is what it is. We know we're having him. There's no point complaining now. But yeah, I thought the trailer was pretty cool, all in all. But it's just the way it was done was a bit like it was just weird. I'm not even like sitting here being like, "Oh, it was such a bad way." I'm just like, it's just weird. It was a weird decision on the whole.
Yeah. And like I'll give WWE credit. Their WrestleMania commercials sometimes can be really good and entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't remember if it was WrestleMania 39 or 40, but the Bloodline one, where they were at the
Mm,
restaurant and it was Roman and like the entire Bloodline. And Roman was just cracking jokes at Paul Heyman. He smashed a glass over the waiter's head. Um, like I love that commercial. Anytime that pops up on my
yeah.
For You page now, I watch it over and over again. Because it's hilarious. So like they do deliver on these commercials. If only they delivered on the actual show as much as the commercials, that'd be great. But that's a topic for another day. Um, because I don't know about you, I don't have much hope for WrestleMania this coming year. Um,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know how this is gonna play out, especially with Seth out. Like I know like one guy doesn't make the entire roster, but like he plays a very vital role there. And if Jey Uso does walk out with the World Heavyweight Championship tonight, I I don't have much faith for WrestleMania.
It's not weird. I think it's well with WrestleMania, and I'll stand by this in the fact that like crowds very much make shows. Like you could have a fairly bang average show, but if you have a hot ass crowd, like it completely changes it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, take like Backlash in France, like in 2023. Was it 23, 24? Sorry. Um, it was like, don't get me wrong, it was also just in general a very good show. That Cody AJ match was incredible, but it's now known as like one of the greatest shows in WWE's history. I think mainly because of the crowd. And I think WrestleMania plays a big part of that as well. And I just didn't. I don't know if it was necessarily the crowd or if it was the venue. There was something that just didn't click for me with WrestleMania in Vegas this year. So I'm slightly hesitant to say the least. I think it's just also a bit boring. Like we've literally just seen it this year. Like I understand, like WrestleMania comes back to cities a lot. Um, get back to Toronto. I'm telling you. um, yeah, get into Toronto. But like, so I get that. But back to back, it's just a bit like, oh, we've been nailed. Like they were going to go back to Louisiana, which we've already seen what three times.
Oh,
Um, like previously. So it's like, but we've not seen it for a good couple of years, and that I was fine. So yeah, I think that as well has got me a little bit skeptical. And as you said, it is a bit open what they're going to do. I think they've very much been thrown into a mess at the minute with all the injuries, but at the same time, as much as that is a slight concern, maybe it allows them to just go a bit wild with their matches and might actually make it a bit more entertaining and enjoyable and having people in matches where they weren't going to be originally.
yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. Like it has the potential to be a good WrestleMania. I just don't have faith, especially how
Yeah.
WrestleMania 41 ended. I'm like, oh man, if like they continue this down the same road, it's not gonna be good. People are gonna be pissed. And like you brought up the cities. I know a city that's probably very pissed right now. That's New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't want to give you WrestleMania, but hear this. We're gonna give you Money in the Bank instead. When it's like you have made it, WrestleMania is your biggest show of the year. People in New Orleans are going to be excited for that more so than Money in the Bank. Yeah, Money in the Bank is, I like the concept of Money in the Bank. I think it's a cool
Hmm.
pay-per-view, but you had them expecting WrestleMania just to give them Money in the Bank and put uh Mania in Vegas again. Kind of screwed them over a little bit there.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of probably promotions over as well. Because you think of all the promotions that have already had to have booked venues like a year in advance to get in there because of how busy it's going to be. And they'll had it all booked in accommodations and all that all booked out. And then they're going, oh, lol, sorry, no, we're going to Vegas instead. So it's like, and they're not, a lot of them, they might get a little bit, but they're not going to get their money back for those booking fees, etc. So a lot of small companies will be messed over as well.
Yeah, 100%. Um, but that can lead us into talking about some TV stuff. Um, we mentioned Saturday night's main event is tonight. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw, and we'll just go down the ladder throughout the week. In terms of Monday Night Raw, there wasn't a whole lot, and like I did a TikTok about this. That was my post show because Monday Night Raw just it didn't feel good to me. It was a repeat of a whole bunch of things. The main event was good. Bailey and Lyra versus Charlotte and Alexa. I liked that match. I actually put that on my match of the year candidates. Um, so I really like that match. But other than that, nothing really notable happened. Um, we did have a thing that I wanted to bring this up because I find it funny and stupid and weird. Um, Maxine Dupri was backstage talking to Adam Pearce, and she was like, I want I want a rematch against Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, but I don't want it yet. I want to call a friend of mine, which I assume is Natalia, and to make sure that I'm ready to beat Becky Lynch for the Women's IC title. And Adam Pearce is like, "Oh yeah, man, like whenever you feel ready, just let me know and I'll make the match." Um I don't and like we've seen recently that all of the shows don't hesitate to announce things like 2 weeks prior, like, oh, you're not gonna face them next week, but in 2 weeks you'll face this person or this team or whatnot. Um, I find that kind of weird a little bit, unless like 2 weeks is like a special show, but it's not in this case. Um, I want to presume that they're prolonging this for AJ Lee to come back. Because I thought that AJ Lee would have had already won the Women's Intercontinental Championship by now. But clearly that's not the case. I can see them just prolonging this for AJ Lee to come back. Becky, I don't see her dropping the title to Maxine Dupri. It's either going to be another shitty finish, or it's just going to be Becky retaining, attacking Maxine after, and then AJ Lee comes out for the save. Um, and maybe they set that up for Survivor Series. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's actually a very interesting thing you brought up there because I never even considered it. I think the match when it happens, I'm in agreement. It will be just i- if this is the route that's going, they're going to go down, and they are going for Becky and AJ, which they should. I think this is absolutely again. Is it maybe kind of stereographed potentially, but like I think it makes sense as you said, have Becky win and just be beaten down Maxine in the ring, and then AJ make the save. The thing that I thought was really interesting, you said that I didn't even consider, is you're absolutely correct because I was in agreement with you. It's weird to announce just a TV match 2 weeks in advance. Maybe, as you said, if it was a special show, maybe if it was, for instance, you know, I don't know, AJ Styles wanted to wrestle someone in, but in 2 weeks they were going to go be in Georgia somewhere. So they're like, oh, in 2 weeks I'll be facing you in my wherever hometown, whatever, something like that. But there was none of that. As you said, this is just a TV match that's been announced for 2 weeks. So again, maybe it's just us being typical part of the IWC and speculating too much, but it does kind of ask the question, like you brought up, is maybe the orders waiting and they are going to pull the trigger on AJ Lee at that event, which also makes sense because that 2 weeks is 2 weeks on Monday. Try to think, go from last Monday will be what we've got. How close will we be then to Survivor Series? Only another week or two.
I believe so. I believe it's at the end of the month. So yeah.
Yeah, so which makes sense, as you said, if they want to build towards an AJ and Becky match at a Survivor Series, which means um we could have this happen, AJ return at this. With the next week we have AJ and Becky maybe go face to face and set the match. And then the week after, well, they could set the match the week after that. They have AJ and Becky go face to face, and then it's the Survivor Series match. Which, in my mind, I think that makes sense. As you said, it's just all a little bit weird how they've done it. But I do agree as well, which is that I think Natalia will probably be the one as well to help out Maxine. But yeah, I think AJ eventually, AJ Becky's got to be the route they're gonna go.
Yeah, because AJ Lee made Becky Lynch tap out. They have to follow up on that.
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
hopefully they do. We talked about announcing things 2 weeks in advance, and that kind of transitions us to a brand that does that very often. That's NXT. So, I have a little bit of a not rant per se, but like it's very weird how they did this. So Trick Williams and Ricky Saints got into it all throughout the episode of NXT this week. Ava at the end comes out and says it's going to be a last man standing match in 2 weeks for the NXT championship. Now I wrote on the website Ava announces Ricky Saints for Trick Williams in 2 weeks at Gold Rush because in my mind I thought it was at Gold Rush. That is not the case. That match is happening a week before NXT Gold Rush, which doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you have Gold Rush and you're doing what you supposedly announced, two different episodes um, for NXT Gold Rush, you couldn't put the NXT Championship match on one of those. I find that very weird. Um, that they just it's called Gold Rush. All your titles should be defended on that show, or at least majority of them. And NXT doesn't have a lot of titles, so you could split them up into 2 weeks because the Heritage Cup just disappeared and Stax doesn't care. So, um,
God, that was even a thing.
yeah, he's the Heritage Cup champion,
My
but he
God.
doesn't care that his champion went missing. Um, but yeah, I don't know why they did that.
Well, firstly, it's funny you bring that up because I didn't know. I thought it was just on Gold Rush as well. This is news to me. So I didn't even realize. You would have assumed so.
Yeah.
Um, I I assume Ricky will be defending that, which maybe gives away actually. Well, I mean, it's not that I thought Trick was going to beat Ricky anyway. I guess minor spoilers, but I would assume Ricky would still be defending the NXT Championship at, on Gold Rush anyway. Because as you said, how the hell can you not have the NXT Championship defended on? I know it's not exactly an NXT PLE, but it's still like a fairly major show. Well, bigger than just an NXT anyway. So I imagine he'll be defending that anyway. But I agree, as you said, it's very weird to not have, especially. I mean, it's a last man standing match. It'll be fine. It'll be good. Like Trick and Ricky decent last time around, so I think it'll be a good match. It's weird not to have that on the mini PLE that I just assumed they were doing. That's interesting.
See, I don't think he's defending the title at Gold Rush. Um, because the last man standing match, they're gonna play it off. Oh, like Ricky is hurt, he's in pain. And
Yeah,
Ava's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't think you should be defending the title." And then just a couple weeks after Gold Rush, they have Deadline, which there I can see Ricky Saints defending the title. That way you have some time to build another feud, and you're not just throwing someone in there because realistically, I can't think of anybody they could just throw in there and it makes sense other than Obafemi returning,
yeah.
which is a possibility. But I still think Obafemi should just go up to the main roster.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's what I mean. It's just I don't like the only other option, and as much as I love the man, it makes no sense. Would be like Josh Briggs, who would just be playing the like Drew McIntyre role now, but on NXT
Yeah.
of oh shit, we don't have anyone to go up against the champion. Oh, we'll put the big scary looking dude who's never actually wins into there. We could just run that back and do something with them, which again makes no sense. So yeah, you might be right actually, but it's just again weird to have this whole gold rush thing and being like, oh yeah, it's where all the championships are going to be defended, and then them not do the NXT championship. But I can also, as you said, see them doing what you described. So I don't know.
Yeah. We also had a segment where Tatum Paxley brought back the wheel for from Halloween Havoc. And she wanted to defend it against somebody, and Izzy Dame was there, um, just being like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Which I kind of like that angle. And I actually liked the angle a lot more where um Izzy Dame's name wasn't on the wheel. And Tatum was like, "Well, you're my friend. I wouldn't want to jeopardize our friendship over the title, and I wouldn't want to fight you." So she spins the wheel, it lands on Lola Vice. Um, Later that night, Fatal Influence interferes and ruins the whole match. That set up a six-woman tag team match next week. So that's gonna happen. They're gonna do something with that. Um, I brought up Fatal Influence, and this is a thought that just came to mind earlier that I just wanted to bring up because I won't have another segment to bring this up. I don't think Laney Reed fits in Fatal Influence. I
You
don't
think?
see it. If anything, actually, I think if you swapped Izzy Dame and Laney Reed, it would fit better. I think Laney Reed would fit
Yes.
better in the culling, and Izzy Dame would fit better in Fatal Influence. I don't think that they're gonna do that. They're gonna do a like switch around thing there. But yeah, I don't see how Laney Reed fits in Fatal Influence. Um, Jasmine Nix fit a lot better in that
Yep.
role.
That's what I was gonna say.
Um, but obviously she's gone now. I don't know. Maybe it'll take some time for me to for Laney Reed to grow on me. Like she's not bad in the ring, but then again,
Yeah.
we haven't seen a whole lot of her in the ring either. So maybe the more I see of her, um, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. Because I totally agree. I was about to say, as you brought it up, the fact that I, in a weird way, even though maybe not the greatest in ring, Jasmine Nix was a better fit for Fatal Influence than Laney Reed. I said I'm still getting to get used to. She is starting to grow on me a little bit lately. Reed. I know I said we spoke about this a good month or so ago. That was just not. I just don't like that character she was playing. But maybe that's part of the issue right now with Fatal Influence. And as you said, it may just take some time because in my mind she's just this like the character she was before still. But as we said, maybe it will grow into something and it will actually develop and she'll end up being feeling even more of a part of it than she is. So it might work. But I agree at the minute it's still early days. It's still weird. Um, the Izzy Dame Tatum stuff, I also agree, and what I find really, really interesting that I like is that whole angle that Izzy was saying to Tatum to be like, "Oh no, you shouldn't defend your championship." Because in my eyes, and I feel like you feel the same as obviously, well, I mean, we are just waiting for that Izzy Dame turn on, well, I guess extra turn on
Yeah.
Tatum, and I like the development of Izzy saying, no, Tatum, you shouldn't defend it. I don't think that's a good idea, is because I feels that her best chance at getting that championship and easiest route is through Tatum because she knows she can manipulate her way to that title. So I thought it was a very, very smart bit of storytelling. I liked it. Um, but yeah, I'm very excited. I think we're all like all of us here are we're all big fans of Izzy Dame. I had Tatum as well. Actually, I'm not. I don't want to like say this as if we're just going to use Tatum as a stepping stone for Izzy Dame. I think both of them are absolutely amazing. But yeah, Izzy's got something there that they could absolutely play with and run with for the long run.
You know what would kind of make this a little bit more interesting? And it's something that just came to mind. The fact that Sean Spears and Nico Vance have been very quiet when Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame are talking and they're just observing. I would be very interested to see a scenario where Spears and Vance help Tatum turn on Izzy instead.
Mhm.
Because their reasoning could just be as simple as Tatum's the champ, you're not. You just seem like, you know, a little bit jealous of Tatum, and they kick Izzy out of the group. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's still gonna be Izzy, but I think if Tatum were the one to turn, you could add a lot more layers to her character there.
It is still an interesting idea. I think the main thing that comes out, and I'll flip back around, is obviously just at the minute, I'm like, man, can I picture Izzy Dame, like the character of Izzy Dame, being babyface? But then at the same time, I don't think I could have ever pictured Tiffany Stratton being babyface, and here we are 11 months later.
Well, she's a
So,
terrible babyface.
well,
Let's just
she
put it
is
that
also she is a terrible babyface, I agree, but she has been for the last 11 months, and I've kind of just got used to her being the way she is. No, it doesn't mean it's good. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, maybe as the name could go on to be a top movie. Actually, I think it would definitely add a lot of interesting dynamics to that entire just group relationship they're calling. So yeah, I could definitely see that happening as well.
I think Izzy Dame as a babyface can work if you don't have her be all joyful all the time. She can still have that culling gimmick, but like she's still serious when she goes down to the ring. And she's all business, but she's a babyface. She's, with the crowd this time a little bit. Um, I think if she has like a still that serious edge to her, then it could probably work.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and this always comes into wrestling. I'm cool with them trying. So, like we even just said about the Laney Reed stuff, at the minute, I'm still a bit like, I don't know, but give it another couple of months. Maybe by then I'll be like, oh, wait, no, she's amazing in this group. So, I'm good with them to try it, give things a shot.
Yeah. So another thing that happened on NXT was Jasper Troy defeated Axiom to earn the number one contender spot to face El Grande Americano um in the finals for the Speed Championship. Now, I went on a wild card with this tournament prediction. I said Jasper Troy was going to win the whole thing, and he ended up winning the whole thing. There was part of me that thought it was going to be like Axiom winning, and it would be Axiom El Grande, and then Ryo and Bravo would get involved. But I was like, no, Axiom and Frazier are a little bit busy on SmackDown right now. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Axiom to win. I think they're going with Jasper Troy. And that's the route they went. And I would like to see Jasper Troy win that title. I think the speed title would be a lot better in NXT rather than on El Grande Americano. And it gives him something, right? That's Booker T says he's a monster, right? So it gives him something to walk around with to defend. I didn't fully agree at first with the idea of Jasper Troy being in the speed tournament because you look at the guy, you wouldn't think he'd be in a match like that. But he's he's been making it work. Like it hasn't been terrible. Um, he's just like a lot of the match, he's um outworked by the speed of no pun intended of his opponent. But then eventually just grabs them and slams them. And you know what? That's as realistic as it gets. If you get picked up by a guy like Jasper Troy and slammed on the ground, you're not gonna want to fly anymore. So, um, yeah, I think he can make it work.
Yeah, so I am in total agreement, but I need to get my bit out of the way with the fact that I have some beef with the Speed with Championship and just the whole idea of Speed currently. But they are going in the right direction. I just can't get behind the Speed match types, and more specifically, it being canon. It was fine when it was on Twitter. Like I never really watched it. I watched the odd one. But that was fine. But now that it's canon, my issue is, for example, you take Axiom and Jasper Troy, and they have a match on Speed, and Jasper Troy can beat Axiom within 4 minutes. If they were to then have a match on NXT, why does that match then last 15 minutes? Like
Yeah.
that's the bit that slightly irks me. And I'm a bit like about this whole Speed concept now being a canon, and I think what the issue is, and I'm sure we'll get on to speaking about it, But with it being canon, it feels like the championship is more of a crutch to the champion, especially when that champion is clearly in the nicest possible way a higher position than the Speed Championship. Someone like El Grande, someone like Sol Ruca. Um, and to kind of flip around on what I said, I do think it's a good idea for developing talent. And the perfect example, before we even got into him, is Jasper Troy. I think it's a good thing for him to hold on to, and as you said, to be able to go around with. And it gets him on TV. It just gets his minutes in. Like as you said, even if it is only 4 minutes, he's out in the ring and he's able just to be shown. And as you said, I think it works better for someone like Jasper Troy more than anything because he could legitimately end a match within 30 seconds because as you said, he could just slam you down and that be it. So I have beef with the Speed Championship. However, I early prediction. I don't know if it's going to be on a show that we do predictions for. So I'll say here, I really want and think Jasper Troy should defeat El Grande for that championship. I think he absolutely should. In the same way that I thought Laney Reed should definitely have defeated Sol Ruca for that championship, but obviously things happened and then she ended up in Fatal Influence somehow. So yeah, it's a weird. I have beef with the championship. However, I think touch wood, it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, a lot of great points there, and I'm totally with you. I think Jasper Troy should win that title. Um, I Your point about the speed tournament is completely valid, and like I understand it, and that's the same thought process I had. But when I thought about it a little bit and I tried to pull at least some logic out of it, what I landed on was in a regular match, you have all the time in the world. Like in kayfabe, you have all the time in
Mhm.
the world. Um, and you can take your time. Whereas a speed match, you can't take your time and you got to move quicker and then you get tired faster.
Yeah,
And that
definitely
was the
correct.
logic I pulled out. Like, okay, he got tired pretty quickly and he just had to lay down for the 3 count. Whereas if it was like a 15-minute match, he would have had time to, put in a rest hold or roll out of the ring or something along those lines. That's the only logic I was able to pull out of it.
I mean, to be fair, that actually does make a lot of sense. It's, again, especially when you subjectively look at the kayfabe element of the match. That does actually make sense. To be fair to you.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of speed, though, the Speed Women's Championship got vacated by Sol Ruca on this episode of NXT as well. Um, Sol Ruca and Zarya were backstage with Ava, and Sol Ruca had the option to let Zarya defend the Speed title for her, but she decided to vacate it instead, which made Zarya a little bit upset. Um, I don't understand why, like, in kayfabe, I understand like Sol Ruca, she lost her North American title because of Zarya. Um, but like, wouldn't you want your title as close to you as possible instead of the potential of somebody else winning it? I feel like that's what would make the most sense, even if Zarya lost the Speed Championship. Um, I by the way, still not buying that Sol Ruca is hurt.
I'm with
Not
you.
at all. She is, there's no way. And like it could be a potential of like maybe she sprained her ankle and they are just over exaggerating a little bit. Like, okay, maybe sit out for a couple weeks and then we'll go somewhere with this. It could be that, because she's been involved physically quite often, and if she was actually injured, that would not be the case. WWE has a very strict, and like any major professional wrestling
Yeah.
company has a very strict medical policy where if you're injured, you cannot be anywhere near the ring. Um, so there's that aspect of it. Um, I don't know where they're going with this. Zarya said, well, Ava said there's going to be a tournament for it. Zarya said she's going to be entering that tournament to win it back for her and Soul. Um, no idea who's going to be in the tournament yet. They haven't announced that. But yeah, what do you make of this whole situation?
So, not to go and rant about the Speed Championship again, but I feel like this is again something that became an issue when it became canon within NXT, and it comes slightly back to what I was saying of it being a bit more of a crutch than I used to talent specifically, and Sol Ruca, I think, is the perfect example. Talent who, in the nicest possible way, are so far above that championship. That's why that's saying that championship would be perfect with some for someone like Jasper Troy. Right now. So Sol, because the issue was, especially when it became canon, Sol at some point has to lose that championship. Um, and again, if you'd lost it on Twitter or on X, yeah, some folk would have seen it, but again, it's not canon. No one really cares. She has to drop that title belt at a big show that becomes a bit of an issue. Again, it's not major, but you're trying to, one of your top baby faces by losing in under whatever it's 5 minutes. Now, what I will say with the Soul stuff, they are at least doing it within a storyline to progress, obviously, the kind of downfall of Hart and Zaria, which I think has been good way to do it. So I wonder if this was just no. This is just me on sheer speculation mode of trying not to rant too much about my thoughts on the Speed Championship. But I wonder if they were like, this is a good way for us to be able to move the belt from Soul without having to have Soul lose to, I don't know, like you know what I mean, like someone from like Zaya Brookside, who I love, but like without having to lose to her. We can take the belt off of Saul. She can go off and do her much bigger things, and then we can just go on and have someone else hold the belt who is a lot more suited to it. So potentially that was the way they were looking at it. Um, but yeah, it's at least it's been used for storyline progress, like progression, rather than just a way for them to get the belt off of Saul at the same time.
Yeah. Fantastic points there. Yeah, I think that they can put it on somebody, and like that's a great point. Like they maybe just didn't want Soul to lose to somebody like Zaya Brookside or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and like Zaya Brookside honestly is a great example of someone who can win
Oh,
a championship.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and because I'm slowly becoming a fan of her too. It took me a little while because we all know that I watch TNA, probably the most I want to say on this podcast.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So the bits I've seen of Zaya Brookside on TNA were not good. She was in a storyline with oh my goodness, I'm forgetting her name. But it was like with Lei Ying Lee and
Mhm.
man, I'm forgetting her name. The crazy red-haired girl. Um,
Oh, uh, frick. I
wow, I feel so bad. That I forgot her name. But involved with
know exactly.
her, and like she turned evil for a little bit, and then went back to normal. It was such a stupid storyline. It was so TNA. And like that was the first like taste I've gotten of Zaya Brookside, and like it wasn't a good first impression. Um, but she is talented in there, and I think she could win it. I wanted Candice LeRae to win that Speed Championship. Um, Candice LeRae is so good. I don't think people understand how good Candice LeRae actually is.
Yeah,
She is so good. Like if anybody listening to this hasn't seen Candice LeRae pre WWE, go back and watch some of her stuff pre WWE. She's fought the person that she's married to, Johnny Gargano, before in a fantastic match before. I believe
yep,
that was PWG, if I'm not mistaken.
yep. It was.
Um, so yeah, um, there's potential for the Speed Championship. I'll say that.
Yeah.
There's potential there. It's just a matter of capitalizing on the potential. NXT as a whole, and a little bit of a side note, but NXT as a whole is probably the most interesting show out of the three right now, or four if you include Evolve, but nobody watches that except me apparently. Um, and we actually are going to be talking about Evolved in a little bit. Um,
God.
but yeah, there's a lot of potential for that
Yep.
Speed Championship.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you were saying about NXT in general, and that's what makes NXT good and bad at the same time because they are able to experiment.
Yeah.
And I wish sometimes they would do it a bit more on the main roster, but I also understand the safety of having Cody Rhodes as a champion for an entire year. There's safety in that. Is it a bit boring? Yeah, sure. But there's a safety. Whereas with NXT, they can just go batshit mental and just put the championship in this. If they want to have JC Jane out of nowhere beat Stephanie Vicker for the women's championship, sure, why not? Let's do it. And that's the perfect place to do it is in NXT and with experiment. And I think, as you said, particularly with the younger talent with speed, I think that's a good way to do it. Was it Rosemary by any chance that we're talking about?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that
so
was
I
yeah.
was looking it up and I was like, what is her goddamn name?
Yeah, that was her name. Yeah, that storyline was god awful. Um, but and like I never really got behind Rosemary either. I know a lot of people like her, but I haven't got behind that character.
Yeah, nah, I'm with you.
But yeah, I think NXT is probably the most interesting because you don't know what the hell you're gonna get with NXT.
Oh yeah.
Um, like it can be so stupid sometimes, but it's funny at times. Like the segment we
Oh
got with
yeah.
Ethan Page, Chelsea Green, Thea Hale, Alba
Oh,
Fyre, Joe Hendry. Um,
fantastic.
such a good
Cinema.
segment. Like everyone in that segment was so good.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, it was hilarious, and it came out of nowhere too. I'm like, why the hell did uh, Thea Hale just come out of nowhere? Um, but yeah, um. Something else on NXT though, that happened was Kalani Jordan fully turned heel and defeated Jordynne Grace to retain the TNA Knockouts Championship. Cool. The question that I have is why the hell can't Jordynne Grace win anything?
That was the best line you've ever done in the podcast. Mainly because I totally agree with you. Because yeah, I watched it. I like, okay. I know. Sure. I know. Stu's a big fan of her. Shout out to Stu at the minute. I love you, bud. Um, but I'm just not a big Kalani fan. To be truly honest with you, I don't think she's bad, and she's definitely not like my least favorite. But I'm just like, oh, every single time I'm like, oh, she's decent in the ring. Yeah, she's pretty good. But I just maybe this the slight heel turn is a good thing for her. It adds something to her. But as you said, why the absolute fucking Jordynne Grace not win a match ever, apart from the one she won against Blake Monroe and has done nothing?
Yeah, I I don't understand the reasoning. The only reasoning that I was able to pull out of this is that WWE wants to like humble down Jordynne Grace a little bit. And like they didn't want to put all the titles on her immediately when she came to WWE because people would be like, oh, like she just got here and she's getting all the titles. Whereas if they like waited a while, like they may not even put a title on her in NXT and then just call her up to the main roster. Um, but then like on the main roster, she could probably make some waves there, and then people could be like, okay, maybe it was worth it a little bit. Now she's making noise now, um, because we know WWE more often than not doesn't acknowledge what people have done in other companies. Um, and so maybe it was just their way of starting her fresh.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm with you. I don't
still
really have
still
an
not the
answer.
greatest thing, but
Well, as you said, it's just a weird one because like I look at Jordan Grace and go, holy shit, she could beat every single person on the roster. So sure, why not? Let's have her be like I know the comparison's maybe not as good as saying let's have her be like the next Brock Lesnar. We say look at Zaria as well, but like why not just have her come in and be a beast? That's what I was saying about Jade Cargill, and I really hope like I'm not fully behind her yet, but I hope she does win tonight and they just book her like an absolute beast because look at her, like.
yeah.
She should be. So, yeah, it's a weird decision that WWE are going on right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on Kalani Jordan though. I feel like there's something missing from her.
Yeah,
Like she can go in the ring. I think it's her mic skills. I don't think
yeah,
she has that good of a promo.
no.
She sounds very how can I put this nicely? Because I like Kalani Jordan, but her anytime she cuts a promo, it
It's
just
like a
sounds
robot.
very like high school drama like. And it's like and I know that's the vibe of NXT, but that's not going to work on the main roster. And they need to fix that a little bit. Like you said, maybe the heel turn can be the fix of it, but again, they've been teasing this heel turn for Kalani for like shit, it's felt like a year that they've teased this heel turn from her. and finally pull the trigger on it. And even like the heel type promos that she did just didn't seem all that great to me. So I think her gimmick needs a little bit more work. And maybe then she'll, be higher up on my radar.
I hope so. That's the thing. I don't like. I want people to succeed in wrestling. Like I don't want to just come on here and be like, oh, this person is rubbish. That's it. They're done for. Like if you can go on and be like the top heel for all we know in the company, and but this is the time we'll do less of the same with NXT. This is the time to try that. Like just give it a shot. I will say they should also be maybe a bit more on the ball with realizing when something's not working, cough cough Wesley, but
God.
when just and revert back to it. But yeah, if they're gonna give it a shot, let's go for it and see how she gets on. Because I agree, I can't stand her promos. Like as you said, it's very high schooly. That it's also been written by a robot. I know, sorry, it's been written by AI and been produced and performed by a robot. So I'm just not with her in the promos. I said she's fantastic in the ring, but there's something not there, and I think it's absolutely the mic skills.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of NXT just feels very um like a lot of the lines you hear. I don't know if you've ever watched Riverdale.
I
But
have
like
actually.
um a lot of the lines that you hear on NXT, you would probably hear on a show like Riverdale.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it's like uh well, Riverdale got
Oh,
really, really bad towards the end of those seasons.
that
Uh
is one of the weirdest shows I've ever watched. Just on a side note, by the way, like, I watched the first season because someone was like watching because it's like murder mystery, and I was like, oh cool, and I watched it and I really liked it. Then I watched the second one, I was like, all right, okay, I still quite liked it. Third one was starting to get a bit weird, and then I was like, okay, and then I completely gave up, and I came back and watched the rest of it. Actually, not that long ago because my girlfriend told me to, and that is one of the most batshit wild shows, and just what the fuck is going on that I've ever seen, and not in a good way.
I think what and like maybe we need to create like a separate podcast at some point, just
It's like
talk
a
about
movie
movies
one.
and shows. But yeah, I completely agree. Like the first three seasons had like great seasons. I
Yeah.
think it's when they finished high school and we returned 7 years later, and they started teaching at the school, and
Yeah.
then I heard that like in the next season they had superpowers.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell? Like, this show was so good when it started, and this is what we've gotten to. It's like, oh man, it got so bad, and I just completely gave up on it.
That was it. But yeah, NXT is Riverdale. That's what we've decided.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of things that nobody watches, Evolve happened this week as well. We had at the end of the show the debut of PJ Vasa, aka Penina Tuilaepa from LFG. She attacked Kendall Gray like when she was cutting a promo about winning the Evolve Women's Championship. Obviously, Evolve was pre-taped, so there was no fallout from the Lash Legend match that happened on NXT. Um, but yeah, PJ Vasa made her debut. I think, and I don't know if you've seen this clip, Rube, but PJ Vasa just looks like she has it. She has such a good look, and it's such a believable look. And I think she has a lot of potential, and she is somebody I hope WWE doesn't fumble because like even if she were to beat Kendall Gray, which I hope she doesn't. I want Kendall Gray to hold on to that for a little bit longer. But even if she were to beat Kendall Gray for that Evolve Women's Championship, it would be believable, and I'd be like, okay, sure. Um, yeah, I know you don't watch Evolve like at all,
Yeah.
really. Um, but yeah, she looks pretty good. Um,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so I have actually I've seen this clip specifically because it's all over, and I totally agree with what you're saying. Again, I don't know, I never really watched LFG either, but she looks hella scary.
yeah.
So I reckon it'd be right. I also, as you said, as much as I don't watch, as you said, Evolve. Just what not much of I don't have time, so I just forget about it half the time. But I will give a shout out. And I was meaning to do this the last couple of weeks, whenever we've been covering NXT, and I kept forgetting. Um, Kendall Gray. Okay, when she was in that Battle Royal at NXT, the number one contender, she looked amazing.
Yeah,
So I said I don't watch. I don't know too much about it. I also know the champions are. I know the likes of Sean Legacy, blah blah blah. Kendall Gray looked fantastic, and she has a hell of a future in NXT.
100%. Um, yeah, they really did like they made sure they made her a star and made her shine in that battle royal
Yep,
in the past few weeks. Definitely seems like that's somebody at least Shawn Michaels has a lot of hope for.
yep,
She's still got a long way to go, for
yeah.
sure, but yeah, I think she can definitely be a star. And so can PJ Vasa. Um, Speaking of future stars, also on Evolve, we had some new WWE ID recruits announced on Evolve, and they did this in the most generic way possible and the most lazy way they could possibly do this. They had I forget the interviewer's name for Evolve. I always forget his name. But he had the three guys, three new sightings for WWE ID in the ring. That being Mike Cunningham, who trained at the Nightmare Factory alongside Cody Rhodes, and they made it a whole deal that like, oh, Cody Rhodes said he's next up. Um, we had Jha'Quan McNair. I couldn't stand typing that name out, by the way.
That's the weird. That's like the like McNair sounds. That McNair's like a Scottish name because of the Mick, and then you've got Jha'Quan. What?
Yeah, so the way it's spelled too is JHA
What?
apostrophe QUAN McNair.
I've told you at length before of my horrendous dyslexia. That is not a name that's going to fly with me.
Yeah, and if there's a name that I'd be fine with the WWE changing, it's that. Um, we also had someone named Eli Knight, where the as soon as I heard that name, the only thing I thought about was Eli Drake, LA Knight.
That's literally what I was just when you
I'm
said
like,
that. I was like,
all right,
that's quite similar.
yeah, very similar. Um, I and they honestly just said the same thing. They were like, "Oh yeah, I trained here. I'm ready to take over." All three of them said the exact same thing. Brooks Jensen interrupted with his whatever gimmick he's got, where he comes out and says he's from Alabama, bam, 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 Bama. Literally word for word, that's what he says. Um, and he came out, made fun of them a little bit, and kind of teased the match between him and Mike Cunningham. Um, I want to say that a lot of the talent that's come out of the Nightmare Factory has not been particularly impressive. Like we had Lee Johnson, who first got out of Nightmare Factory in AEW at first, didn't make a whole lot of waves, didn't make a whole lot of noise. Now he's starting to find his way a little bit. We had Julia Hart, who came out of the Nightmare Factory again at first, didn't really make waves in AEW. Now she's doing a really good job. Um, and Yeah, there was a tag team that came out of there as well, and I'm forgetting the name of the tag team now. But yeah, a lot of people that came out of the Nightmare Factory just didn't make an impact at first. Um, so I'm very curious about this Mike Cunningham individual, if he's actually going to be everything he says he is, or if this is just going to be another, typical product of the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah, I think as well. We spoke about this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I can't remember in what context. But already doing that whole like, oh, he's been trained by Cody Rhodes. Ah, Cody. I think that already is a bit of a crutch.
Hmm.
Like as you said, like, oh, he's the pupil of Cody Rhodes. Like, just I don't know nothing about Mike Cunningham, but just let Mike Cunningham be Mike Cunningham. It doesn't matter where you trained.
Yeah, exactly. That's like if I had went down to the ring and just yelled out, I was trained by Santino Marella. Nobody gives a
Exactly.
shit. Like, I was like if
Well
somebody
done. You know
came
how to
out
do the
just
Cobra.
yelling, right? As like whatever, like sure they wanted to say the school they trained at, sure, but they
Uh-huh.
made it a point to be like, oh yeah, Cody Rhodes said he's next up. Stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop doing that. You just set these people up for failure.
No, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, that's Evolve on that side of things. Nothing else really happened on Evolved worth talking about. This was the last appearance, or at least I think the last appearance that we got from Gentala and Stevie Turner, because they were on this episode of Evolve.
Oh,
Uh,
rip.
so I'm pretty sure that was the last we're gonna see of them. Unless they have more tapings with them involved. I don't know how far back these tapings go. Um, but yeah, let's move on to some AEW stuff. We had a couple interesting things on Dynamite happen. Um, so we had a thing where Kyle O'Reilly and John Moxley had a match. They won 1-on-1. Orange Cassidy teamed up with Darby Allin to take on Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. Those two things tied into each other. By the way, shout out to Kyle O'Reilly for just putting on back-to-back banging matches with Moxley. I think there should be a third match between them.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Kyle O'Reilly shine. And no, guys, it's not just because he's Canadian. I really like Kyle O'Reilly. And I have for a long time. I think honestly, like I think he was. We obviously know what Roderick Strong is, but other than him,
Yep.
he was probably the most underrated guy in Undisputed Era, and
Oh
I
yeah.
always liked Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I would have loved after Undisputed Era disbanded. I would have loved for Kyle O'Reilly to have got like the NXT Championship or something.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, there was that. And then so after the Moxley and O'Reilly match, the conglomeration came out, the Death Riders came out, they brawled, and the way they did this was actually pretty funny. Mark Briscoe grabbed the mic and was like, "You know what? There's only one way to settle this. I'm gonna let my friend Orange Cassidy tell you." And he was like, "No, no." And then he did it in the most Orange Cassidy way possible. He was like, "Ugh, blood and guts." It was just hilarious. I fucking love Orange Cassidy. He's fantastic. He's probably one of my favorites in AEW just because of how great he
Oh
is.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's the men's blood and guts. I was about to say war games. Men's blood and guts match announced. We still have to wait on the women's side of things, and I don't understand why the women's one hasn't been announced yet. We've been teasing this for too long, and
Yeah.
they just need to announce the participants in that match because well, we have like what 2-ish weeks until Blood and Guts.
I think so. And it's like as you said, we can already take a fairly good guess and we already kind of know who's going to be in it. So yeah, let's just go. Let's go. Get the ball rolling.
Someone that is not unfortunately going to be in the Blood and Guts women's match is Penelope Ford. She toward her what was the I can't remember the medical term. Was it like UCL or something?
I think it was.
Um, I'm not a doctor, guys, so I don't know.
Neither am I.
But it was her elbow. She tore her elbow, and it's the equivalent of tearing your ACL, but just in your elbow. Um, so that's taken her out of the AEW Women's Tag Title Tournament as well. Um, so Megan Bayne needed a new tag team partner, and Penelope Ford is being replaced by Marina Shafir, which
Oh,
didn't expect, but you know what? Give it to me. I'm
I
fine with
think all of our reactions was Moxley's reaction in the background.
it. Yeah,
I seen this team because I woke up the next day to watch Dynamite. I seen this team online. I went, "Holy shit!" By the way, what a team!
yeah. I'm sorry to crap on anybody's, dream or whatever. I don't think they're winning the tournament though.
I don't think so either. But
I think they're gonna be out in the second round.
yeah,
They'll get past the first. I can't remember who they're facing in the first round. Um, but
can't
I don't have the
either.
bracket in front of me. But we did see that Julia Hart and Sky Blue advanced. Um, everybody that listens to this podcast know I would love to see them go all the way. Um, and honestly, like bias aside, you look at the rest of the landscape, and by the way, they did end up going with Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, which was kind of weird. Um, you look at the rest of the landscape, and it's like, okay, you kind of think that the Sisters of Sin would be the favorites because they're the most established tag team in this tournament.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good chance the titles go on them, and AEW seems like they really believe in the Triangle of Madness, and why wouldn't they? I think this trio can be really, really good. With Tekla, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. Um, I love the how Sky Blue and Julia Hart have both evolved. Obviously, Julia Hart had the House of Black faction, and that's where she got. And by the way, I think if it weren't for the House of Black, Julia Hart wouldn't be where she's at right now. Um,
Yeah.
so kudos to them for doing that. I think the House of Black was honestly, this may be a hot take, but one of the best factions AEW has produced.
Oh, I fucking loved it.
So yeah, I love those guys. But yeah, I think that the Sisters of Sin could be the favorites in this tournament.
I mean, there's certainly a shout for them. Maybe it's the boring option, but Tony can't hear something. But I would love for them to throw a swerve kind of in there, and have it be a bit different. Like when they had oh my God, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian be the first AEW tag team champions. It was a bit different. It wasn't the Young Bucks. It was someone different. They might do that here, and I'd be cool with that. Um, but at the same time, I also totally can't see past AEW having the final be Mercedes and Athena taking on Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. It's boring, yes, but more just to have Tony and Mercedes on the show. On the show. I don't know if I can trust them not to go with that match.
I will say the only person I've sort of got behind out of that four in AEW specifically is Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah,
The other
that was
three,
great.
and I'm gonna piss a lot of people off with that, but the other three just they haven't done a lot for me. Like I've spoken before that I don't like the CEO gimmick.
Yeah,
She can go in the ring. She's really good in the ring. But the CEO gimmick, I don't understand. I don't like the
totally with.
timeless gimmick. Um, and Athena is just she's really good in the ring, but I don't know what it is about her. Maybe like maybe it's because I don't watch Ring of Honor. Maybe that's why. Because she spends a lot more time in Ring of Honor than she does in AEW. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why I haven't fully gotten behind her. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be interested in seeing that being the final matchup, but you're absolutely correct. That could be the route that they go.
Yeah, I would be more. I always say this when things happen. I would be more than happy to be proven wrong. I would love that. Like when on Raw when AJ and Dragon Lee. When I was like, I just thought they would just go Judgment Day, and I was like, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. In this case, is another one. I'm happy to be proven wrong here.
Yeah. Um, so that is really I mean we could talk about SmackDown actually because that happened last night as well. But neither of us watched the entirety of SmackDown. Um, I don't know if you went back and finished it.
Oh, I did finish it. Yeah.
Oh, did you? So was there, I know we talked before we started recording, but like is there anything like specific you took away from that episode of SmackDown because I didn't finish watching it.
I forgot. I watched it and already forgotten about it. I am not 100%. I mean, I wasn't anyway. I don't think Drew's winning tonight. Sadly, him getting the better of Cody is always the typical trope in wrestling. Don't touch the belt, which he did. I think that it adds a interesting element to the match now that it's the if Cody gets himself DQ'd or count out, he will lose. What you see, to be fair to Drew, fantastic point. I am being biased here because it's Drew McIntyre. But when he sat there, he was like, I'm not signing this contract because this is a totally unfair contract. I was like, yes. Why aren't more wrestlers doing that? What's with this champion's advantage bullshit? Because it is. They can just get themselves DQ'd and just win every match, which is a thing that gets brought up a lot when I try to explain wrestling to non-wrestling fans in the element of kayfabe. And then when that gets brought up, they go, "Oh, so why doesn't the champion just get themselves DQ'd all the time?" There's only so many times I can sit there and pretend that no, it's the babyface wanting to be valiant It's like, no, that's a very good point. Why doesn't they just get themselves DQ'd all the time? So great point there, brought up by Drew, but unfortunately, I don't think Drew's winning. Even though I've got my predictions, but after watching last night's SmackDown, I'm less confident. Less confident now. Can't remember what else we've really seen. Uh, we're getting Talatonga and Ray Phoenix next week. Sure.
Yeah.
So I can really go with that. But yeah, it was a bit of a nothing SmackDown. Elion and Nathan Fraser was great because, of course, it was like if you like, I think it's physically impossible to have a bad match with Ilya Dragunov, like generally.
Yeah, 100%. If you have a bad match with Ilya Dragunov, there might be something wrong with you. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
like, man, the guy is so good. I don't understand people that don't like Ilya Dragunov.
Oh,
I
it
never
blows my mind.
understand that.
Absolutely. I think as well, like I know I'm probably biased because when he was on the Indies over here in the UK, a lot, particularly WXW, and we got to see this just brutal style that he was just bringing in. Is like I've been watching for a long time, so it's like, and I'm used to that kind of quote unquote British strong style, if you want to call it that. And watch them do it over here, like some progress as well. I just absolutely love it. I just love like two guys just beating the shit out of each other. Is like crazy as that sounds.
100%. Um, so do you care if I give Collision spoilers on
Oh,
it?
go for it. Yeah, no, go for it.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go over some like somewhat important things that um happen on AEW Collision. I'm not gonna go over every single result. Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir defeated Miranda Elise and Nixon Newell, aka Tegan Knox, to advance in the women's tag team title tournament. We had Takesha and Okada defeat Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Um, both teams have tension with them, so I can imagine how that's gonna go. Mercedes Moné defeated Olympia to retain the CMLL Women's Championship. Um, what else did we have here? Mark Briscoe, Commander, and Roderick Strong defeated Beast Mortos, Sammy Guevara, and Jalistico. Um, and Bandino defeated Mascara Dorada. So yeah, nothing too crazy as always on Collision. Um, Collision is just very like I don't know how to explain AEW to Collision to somebody. It's not a show that's important to watch. They haven't made it important. Like when it first came out, it was made for one specific person that ended up just leaving the company anyway. So now they just have it as like I don't know, just an extra show to get some extra matches
Yeah.
in, I guess, and more people on TV. Um, like Ace Austin was on Collision tonight. Like he hasn't appeared on Dynamite at all, I don't think. So yeah, AEW Collision's weird. I don't watch it. Like I'll see
No,
the
neither.
spoilers and like if I see the spoilers and something interesting happens and I read it and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll check that out. And usually it's just I ended up watching the YouTube video anyway of just that particular segment.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, nothing too crazy happened on Collision. But that is going to do it for us for the headlines in pro wrestling this week. We always want to know what you guys have to say and your thoughts on everything we talked about today. So, like I mentioned at the start of this podcast, make sure you guys leave your comments down below, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, or you can go on the Kayfabe Central website, leave your thoughts over there. The Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page as well. It's $5 minimum for the exclusive wrestling content tier. All the links are down below. Rue, did you want to plug some of your stuff?
Sure, yep. Root on wrestling on TikTok. That's the majority where I'll be posting all my stuff. I need to try and film a bunch of videos tomorrow. I try to post daily if I can, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And particularly this week, I am away Wednesday to Friday, so I'm going to try and preemptively get some videos filmed so they can go up on those days. But there's no promises then, so I'll see how I do. But yeah, it's Run Wrestling on TikTok and same with YouTube. You can find me over there. I don't really post to YouTube at the minute, but maybe in the future. I want to start trying to figure something out and figure a schedule and a way to do it that I can do as well.
Sweet. I will be doing live coverage for Saturday night's main event tonight, as well as a post show for Saturday night's main event tonight. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I don't think I'm going to be going live on TikTok. I didn't go live on TikTok last night either because of Halloween and it was so hectic. But I am just very tired and drowsy. So I may not be on live tonight for Saturday night's main event, especially with the amount of ads we're gonna get. I actually am gonna go pay for YouTube Premium after this, just so I can have less ads, even though WWE is going to throw as much as they can at me.
Believe me, I've got it, and it's still bad.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I will be back later tonight for the Saturday night's main event post show. And live coverage will be up on the Kayfabe Central website. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Remember, it starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, not 8, like I thought it did last week. So yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And until then, I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.